Hello everyone, this is Fernando for the latest Aliens and UFOs special edition video. This is going to be part 4 of my Area 51 VIP tour. So if you haven't had a chance, be sure to check out the other 3 parts. I have it in my Aliens and UFO playlist ready to view, so you can see all the build up with regards to this fantastic tour. By the way, someone asked with regards to the tour, where can you get it and is it year round? Basically, you just get it when you're there in Vegas. You can order tickets ahead of time. If you type in anywhere, Google or Bing, with regards to Area 51 VIP tour, it'll be, if not the first link, one of the top links for it. And my understanding is, yes, it is year round. This tour, I was there in the middle of December, which is one of the more slower months when it comes to their tours, and they were still available. So I believe they are available all year round, especially, of course, during heavy tourism days like holidays and other type of days like that. So this is going to be part 4. Part 3, I left off with, we just finished visiting the Little Alien restaurant, and so we just finished eating there. We finally got on the SUV, and then we finally were heading to Area 51. So I'm going to start off with another picture. This one here showcases another thing that we viewed. It's more of these planes from Area 51 doing their, I guess you could call it formation, their exercises, whatever it may be. But sure enough, there they were flying up above us, so I was quite fortunate to be able to take that picture. Now the tour guide was nice enough to take us first to the back entrance to Area 51. It's one of the lesser known entrances. So the tour guide, he was asking us, or telling us actually, that we were ahead of time when it came to the tour and if we wanted to go to the back end first. And then of course I immediately answered yes, because if everyone knows about the front end as far as F51 and hardly anyone knows about the back end, it'd be great to see. So we went ahead and drove over there first, and here it is. This is the actual back end entrance to Area 51, the one that's hardly ever used. Apparently, the way the tour guide said it, it is used primarily for the large, I guess, shipping trucks, because it's Area 51. It's even though it's super secret top government location, it still receives standard shipping trucks like anyone else. So in fact, we saw one of those. It was a large 18-wheeler. No doubt it was carrying something, either food or some kind of other supplies of sorts, to the Area 51, and this is where they go in. So we stopped, and it's very nonchalant. I mean, the entrance there, it's just one simple stop sign, nothing in terms of, let's say, heavily fortified fences and concrete barriers, nothing along those lines. It's just what you see there, and the personnel that must be in the buildings behind, sure enough, they're there, they're watching us. The way the tour guide said it is, whenever you come up, even probably like shortly after you turn into that long road. By the way, it was a very long road to get there from the main highway, so it was about a good maybe 10-15 minutes of driving 60 miles an hour, and then you could get there. And he said probably about the time you start turning into it, that's when you already are detected. This is one of the warning signs, by the way, that is located there at the front. By the way, you can walk up straight to the fence. The way the tour guide said is, as long as you don't cross over that fence, then you're perfectly fine. You can take pictures of the fence, you can take pictures of the signs all year long, it doesn't matter, just don't cross over it. And it shows what you see there, off limits to unauthorized personnel, and the punishment is 1 year imprisonment and $5,000 fine. So he says they take it very seriously. Obviously, the super clearance that they have there with regards to this thing. Here's another closer picture, and you see Lil Godzilla, of course, standing in front of it. And you'll see the ironic sign, photography of this area is prohibited. What he described it and clarified it. He said if you cross over, any photography after that point is prohibited, but if you're standing in front, then you're perfectly fine. You have no qualms with regards to taking pictures of that stuff. And then he also said that there's something involving, I guess, a new law with regards to those drones, because people have actually been dumb enough to take drones to the entrance there and to the front entrance and then try to see about taking, I guess, higher altitude pictures, but obviously that's not going to work. There's going to be a lot of hesitance towards that. So I went as close as I got to the gate. There's another picture of it, and it showcases a clear view. There's a very, very long road towards the back. It's too far off. I can't even see what else is behind it. I know that Area 51 is behind those mountains and the way in, so no chance, of course, at all of us seeing anything related to Area 51 other than the actual gate. Here's another picture of, in this case, getting closer to those buildings that are there, those government buildings. That's about as close as I've wanted to get. I didn't want to get any closer than that. Those blacked out tinted windows, no doubt again I was being tracked all the time while I was getting close to the gate itself. But that is, at least when it comes to my experience, the closest I ever got to getting towards the back entrance to Area 51. And then finally, here's one last picture of that location. Little Godzilla standing in front of the gate, daring himself to try to cross over, but again, not having enough courage to do so and being smart about it. But this is the back entrance to Area 51, the more lesser known entrance. Very rarely used. We went there and I only saw one truck, and it was leaving the location by the time we went there. No other traffic of any kind going to or from thereafter. So, but one of the, again, lesser known locations. So we hightailed it out of there and then went back to the main road. And before we got to the main entrance of Area 51, we stopped by the infamous and famous, in this case, Area 51 mailbox. And what you're looking at, of course, is not the mailbox. It's a rock. And the reason for this is because, unfortunately, the location of the mailbox was right there where that rock is. That rock was put in there, replaced now, to kind of commemorate it. Because the way the tour guide explained it, sometime in 2014, there was a lot of build-up leading to this decision, but finally in 2014 it happened. Apparently over the years, people have done damages to the mailbox. The urban legend is, of course, that the mailbox used to be for Area 51. Of course, that's not true. It was just for the guy that owned the land. That was his mailbox. And so he would have his mail collected there, and he had to drive a very long way to get there. And then over the decades, the longer that mailbox gained infamy, the more tourists that would come by. Well, guess what? There's always some bad apples that ruin it for everybody. And over the years, people would damage the mailbox. And the way the tour guide described it is, it was tolerated at some point, but inevitably the post office was almost having enough, because it would be damaged, then it would have to be rebuilt, then it would be damaged again, and then it would affect the mail, especially since it looks like the area there, he's the only one that was receiving mail for probably like the next 25-50 miles or so. So there is only him, and so the post office personnel will have to go way out of their way. Here's a picture out of the way of Godzilla, little Godzilla, standing on the rock commemorating it. So the way the tour guide explained it is, in 2014, it finally culminated with some idiots that they decided not only to destroy the mailbox, which is considered a federal crime, by the way, when you're damaging someone's mail, but they happened to have done it apparently when the post office carrier was right there. And my understanding is they started to attack or intimidate or do something, like they started to harass the post office carrier. And this was to the point where it was finally the post office carrier said, enough. I'm not going to be delivering the mail anymore and have this type of damage potentially occur to me. No doubt with the mailbox being there previously, every time the post office carrier went there, there was a lot of people surrounding the mailbox, and so that was becoming an issue for them. But that was it. That was the tipping point. Once that box was destroyed, which the way the tour guide said it was just obliterated. Like whoever damaged it, those idiots, they completely broke it. Mail was strewn everywhere. And then the post office carrier was again harassed at the very same time. Those guys, I believe they went to jail, the tour guide said, because again it's a big crime to damage mail. But then that was it. The U.S. Post Office decided they're not going to deliver mail any more to this location. If this guy wanted mail, whoever this private owner is, I forget his name, but he's someone there, then he has to pick it up now from a different location. So he went ahead and did that. He complied with them, and so that's been it. This other picture you've been looking at, it's one of the other places. Apparently, over the years, the guy again was getting fed up of his regular post office getting harassed, his post office box. So he did like a second box that he put nearby, and he said, you know, touch this one or take photos of this one, make it be the one you visit, but just don't touch mine. And then that one, I believe, was either destroyed or removed as well. But what was left was what you see here. So again, it's nothing in terms of actual mail being sent there to the legendary box. It's just pieces of rocks now commemorating those locations. So unfortunately, too bad, so sad. I was hoping that I was going to be able to take a picture of the infamous mailbox, but nope. Some people had to ruin it. So finally, we turned into that road leading to the main entrance to Area 51. You're looking at a picture here. And then on the way, we stopped by one of the locations. By the way, these Joshua trees, they're very plentiful there. They're located pretty much strewn throughout the entire field there. Very resourceful trees. They're not even trees, actually. They're flowers, if you can believe it. So the way the tour guide said is these flowers, they can grow and last for hundreds of years. Their maturity date is set for hundreds of years, maybe even thousands. So these are perfect flowers for the actual desert. And case in point is we stopped by this one, which you'll see is a tire. There's a tire within one of the Joshua trees. And the way the tour guide said is somewhere back a couple of decades or so ago, he's surmising somewhere in the 60s or 70s, somebody decided to place a tire on one of the younger trees. And then they left the tire there. And then over the decades, the branch of the tree, and again, I'm only calling it a tree because it's the Joshua tree, that's the main term for it, even though it's a flower, it grew out of the tire and then over the tire until you see it as it is today. So quite interesting, the way again nature evolves and surrounds itself within it, and it's become a little mini tourism stop along the way for Area 51. So if you ever go on this tour, the tour guide will let you stop there and take pictures of it. Here's a close-up, by the way, of one of those Joshua trees. It's advised not to touch them. They're very prickly. I don't know if they have any kind of not poison, but something that could cause rashes. But at least with regards to how they look like, they're very distinctive, very cool looking. So finally, let's go to the final leg of the tour, and that is Area 51. And here it is, the actual main entrance to Area 51. This is the sign that greets you on the way there. What's interesting to note is that the back entrance at least had that gate, that stop sign. But this one doesn't have anything. Like there's no actual stop sign anywhere except like in terms of a dropping gate. And in this case, the actual stop signs are just the ones posted on the side of the road. And here's the one that stands out, that greets you again at the very front. It says, of course, that it's a U.S. Air Force installation, that you cannot enter without permission. It used to say use of deadly force is authorized, but the tour guide said that was removed sometime last year, I guess, to ensure people that if you cross over, then you're not going to necessarily be shot to death, but you will still get in serious trouble. There's the $1,000 fine, 6-month imprisonment thing, and then there's the no drone zone side, because again, people are dumb enough to be able to think that they could take a drone and fly it over. So here's little Godzilla standing in front of the sign, saying hello to the sign itself. The next shot here showcases what I'm talking about. There's no drop down spot. Like you can literally cross over if you want. There's nothing prohibiting you other than the idea of you wanting, to seriously be dumb enough to go to jail for something like that. There are videos out there on YouTube of people crossing over this line, but in some cases it's by accident, and the way I don't think anyone really did that on purpose. There was one video of one guy, he was a little man that was confined to a wheelchair, and he went over, but I guess the camo guys there decided they weren't gonna do anything to him considering his condition. But the idea is, if you go, you can take pictures all day long. You can go up as close as possible if you want, but again, do not cross over that line. But there's nothing stopping you. And if you do go by accident, the tour guide said that there are some people that have done so not realizing that this is the actual entrance, then they'll get stopped. And when they get stopped, they'll just go and, I guess, be given a stern talking to. If there's no criminal history associated with that person, then they'll get pulled back, and they'll get pulled out, and then I think they might get a written warning at most. The tour guide said there hasn't really been a case of someone like going seriously to jail, but he said that if you're considered a foreigner, let's say someone visiting as a tourist and you're coming from the Netherlands or France or wherever, then you can actually get deported right then and there, because the tour guide said that that is a serious offense, serious enough to at least have you kicked out. And then you're seeing, of course, pictures of little Godzilla here standing in front of the entrance. Those rocks, by the way, I collected one of those. I collected the one that was the closest one to the very front line, as close as possible. I'm sure I gave the tour guide almost a heart attack because I went as close as I could to that line, found the nearest rock, and then got it. But then that was it. So, but that's as close as I got. So, this other picture here showcases one of the other signs, one of the older ones. Remember, I was telling you earlier that there was a message that used to say that the use of deadly force is authorized. This is one of the older ones, and you can see it still says something like that. It's a little bit faint, but it says it. Use of deadly force authorized. So they kept that sign with that older information. By the way, if you're wondering, like, where's the security cameras, where's surveillance, they're there. The way the tour guide said is they're spotted around the area. There's definitely sensors everywhere. You just can't see them, and that's the whole purpose of them, because you're not supposed to really know where they are. There are a few items that stuck out of the ground that you can kind of see, and those, I tried to take a picture of them, but they were too far away. But like in this case, you're seeing a picture of what's considered their quote-unquote fence, and it's just a barbed wire. But that's the only thing that's visible, really. The rest of the stuff is out there, but it's plain invisible. By the way, if you try to find that stuff, you can still get in trouble, even if you're on the other side of the fence, the right side. Because the way the tour guide said is, if you take, let's say, a metal detector out and you're trying to find those sensors, then you will get pulled over. By the way, there's if you go towards the right of the entrance, there's a little hill of sorts, and if you climb up that hill, then you'll get your best vantage shot of this, which are the camel guys, which you're looking at here. There they are. They're sitting in their truck, just watching us as we're watching them. They always come out whenever someone is coming by the location. Whenever that happens, they're going to stay there all day, like if needed. They're going to stay there as long as you're there. And I tried to zoom in as much as possible. This is as close as that I got to a good picture of them. But they'll stay there, and then they won't move unless you then make them move. So don't cross over the line. Don't do anything dumb with a drone. Don't try to do surveillance and try to pick up where those metal things are. As long as you're just your average tourist and not giving them a reason to come over, then you're perfectly fine. And again, you can walk up to the edge, you can walk up to the signs as much as you want, no problem there. The tour guide was giving me some stories. They do interact sometimes in a fun way with tourists. The way he said it was, one time there was a group of guys that were there for the tour guide, like they were with the tour, and they decided to drop trout, like they decided to moon the actual truck, the camel guys that were within the truck. And their response was they turned their truck around as if they didn't want to see this. So obviously they were still watching because they had to, but that was their visible reaction. Another time he said that there was a group of college girls that went there, and while they were up there on that hill, they decided to flash the guys in the car or in the truck. Like they lifted up their shirts and flashed them, and then sure enough, knowing that they were watching, the truck turned on its flashlights, like it did its flash on flash off real quick, acknowledging that yes, we saw that flash and we liked it. And then that was their interaction. So they do sometimes involved. I waved hi to them. I don't know if they wave hi back because they're too far away. He said, and people do bring binoculars, which is fine. I wish I would have brought some beforehand so that way I could have seen them. But I did wave hi, I gave them a peace sign, and then hopefully they interacted somewhere back. This is another picture, by the way, of it looks like it was a campsite. Like some people actually set up. These are the remnants of like a fire of some sort. And so the way the tour guide said is, yeah, people sometimes stay out there, and it's perfectly fine as long as you stay on the right side. And you can, the idea was they probably stayed out there at night to try to see if there was anything up in the sky, like any of those strange lights or anything else that they could help capture. One last picture, or two other pictures you'll showcase here. This is coming down the hill. This is a better shot of the main entrance. You'll see in the far back that there's one of those sensors there. I don't know what that is. Know that it's monitoring everything, but it showcases, that's one, probably the only one that I saw that was visible. And then finally, here's the final shot, like one last time walking up towards the edge, close as you can get to the sign, to the actual Area 51 entrance, and it was quite a blast to do so. And so this Area 51 VIP tour, I highly recommend it. If you have a chance and you're in Vegas and you wanted to go outside of the Strip, take this tour. Yeah, it's definitely worth it. It's a little bit pricey. I think the average price is around $200. I got a discount because I got it through my work job, which offers, I guess, discounted tour or discounted prices for employees. So I got a good price on it. But if price is a consideration, think of it this way: it is worth it because you last there all day, 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock in some cases in the morning up until past 5, and so it's well worth the money, and you get the free lunch on top of that. So alright, you guys, that is the last of the special edition Area 51 VIP tour. I hope you guys enjoyed my videos dedicated to it. I love the comments that y'all are stating. And next time I'm in Vegas and I do another tour like this, special edition, whether it's like visiting, let's say the Grand Canyon or going to Hoover Dam, I'll definitely create videos for you about that too. So, alright, everybody, thanks again as always. Take care.